Okay? So, don't forget, muscle is the one that's important. It contracts, right? So we can move. And very important for us to remember, muscle is the one that generates heat. As it contracts, it generates heat. It's the one that generates heat, but the blood distributes that heat to the rest of the body. So that's why if you have any stroke patients, like I said, you have to put a blanket on the part of the body that's no longer working because it's no longer able to generate heat. So that's why you have to help them. You need to know that there are only 3 muscle types: skeletal, cardiac, and smooth muscle. So let's look at how skeletal muscle looks like. So you're going to write specimen name, skeletal muscle. Specimen origin. You should know that it's the one that's attached to your long bones, to your bones, right? Look at of the different muscle types, it's the one that has striations, the stripiness like that. That's typical of muscle. And of the tissues that you're asked to draw, only skeletal muscle is multinucleated, meaning several nucleus per cell. Okay? I like to ask, so identify, you're going to say skeletal muscle. And maybe I'll ask, give me the location in the body. You're going to say, maybe attached to long bones, okay? And then, to carry out its function, or you say, knowing its function, give me one organelle that will be found in abundance in each cell. What organelle can you write? What did you say? No, besides the nucleus. Huh? What organelle? Can you give me one organelle?
Mitochondria?
Yes, very good. You can write mitochondria, right? Because muscle needs energy to contract. So I'm going to write mitochondria. Also, I can write my protein synthesis, right? Your ribosomes, RER, Golgi body. Why? What is muscle made of? It's made up of muscle proteins. So, another favorite question of mine is, to carry out its function, what compound will it need a lot of? Compound, not organelle, not what compound? What can you write?
Amino acids.
You can write amino acids, protein. I'm sure it will need a lot of proteins, right? You can also, so
Sugar,
if you,
glucose.
you can write glucose for energy. If you wrote amino acid, if you wrote glucose, what type of compound is that? Organic or inorganic? Organic. What other compounds do you think will be needed by your muscle?
ATP. Or is that
Yes, ATP.
H2O.
Yes, water. What's that? Organic, inorganic?
Inorganic.
Yes.
Lactic acid. Oh wait, no, it produces
I'm
lactic.
thinking oxygen also, right? Oxygen, which is organic or inorganic? Inorganic. Okay? So don't forget. Don't forget your compounds, organic, inorganic, and then as far as your carbohydrates, proteins, and carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, don't forget the basic building blocks of those. For carbs, it's glucose. For proteins, amino acids, and for fats, it's your fatty acids. Look at cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle is also striated, similar to skeletal muscle, except what you will notice with cardiac muscle, they're like spreading. See, they spread. It's not packed in linear arrangement. It's also striated. And another very distinct feature of cardiac muscle is the presence of this one, intercalated disc. So the intercalated disc is actually the junction between 2 muscle cells. And here you will find a lot of gap junctions. So that, you familiar with pacemaker? When the pacemaker fires, it fires very quickly so that when the heart contracts, it's just like one big muscle cell. But it's a lot of them. Okay? So, my favorite question, where do you find this in the body? In the heart, yes. So I'll say, where do you find this? What body cavity do you find this organ?
Head.
Huh? pericardium, which is in your thoracic cavity. You can write thoracic cavity, you can write pericardial cavity. Very good. Maybe I'll ask, what other organ can you find in this big cavity?
Lungs.
Lungs. So that's a question. Maybe I'll say, so in relationship to these organs, give me the location. Then you'll say, the heart is medial to the lungs. So there's so many questions I can ask to find out if you know your anatomy. Okay. Now I want you to look at this other muscle, smooth muscle. Doesn't it look like collagen? See, that's why I want you to pay attention to the shape of the nucleus. With smooth, look at collagen again. I'm going to show you collagen. See? With collagen, pointy nucleus. And let's look at smooth muscle again. With smooth muscle, sausage nucleus. And that's in the slide over there. You see? It will be sausage. So the reason it's smooth is because it's smooth in appearance. You don't see the striations. It does contain the muscle proteins also, except it's not in regular arrangement. So where do you find this? Where will you
On
find
the inside of the heart.
Yes. Maybe I'll say this. If this if this got injured, you cannot replace it anymore because of the absence of what organelle?
Ribosome?
No. For cell division, what's the organelle for cell division? Centrioles. Centrioles. Because they don't have centrioles, they cannot divide anymore. So, if they get injured, what tissue type will replace them? Scar tissue, which is connective tissue. Very good. So, can scar tissue contract? No. Only muscle contracts. So, people who have had a stroke, let's say, or had an MI, when they recover, they will recover, but then that part of the heart that was damaged is permanently damaged. So, they go for lifestyle changes. There's things they can do, they cannot do anymore because the heart is compromised. Because what replaced it is connective tissue. If you wrote scar, I will accept for the test. Okay? The last basic tissue type is nervous tissue. So here, the main player, the main cell of the nervous tissue is this one called the neuron. It really looks like this under the microscope. So if you see it, identify, you say nervous tissue. So maybe I'll ask, where do you find this? If you wrote brain, maybe I'll ask, what body cavity is that organ that you wrote? Where do you find them?
Cranium.
Cranial cavity or dorsal body cavity. So these cells, I'll say, this cell cannot divide anymore. Again, because of the absence of centrioles. So they will spend their entire lifetime in what phase?
Interface.
Yes, interphase. In this phase, they are still metabolically active. True or false?
True.
Yes. As long as they're alive, they're still metabolically active. Okay? So, maybe I'll say, this is one of the cells which suffer from glucose deficiency or low glucose levels. Why?
It
Because
can't store energy.
they do not store glucose, right? Where is glucose stored? In your liver and your muscle only. So, in between meals, this can suffer because it doesn't store glucose. You see? You understand? And those are the 4 basic tissue types. So, now you take out your histology notebook and you start drawing your different tissues. A lot of the students, what they do is they take pictures. That drawing, that histology drawing, they take pictures with their phone. So the histology drawing is due on the day of the lab exam.
Next Thursday.
Yes. So we're gonna have a practice lab exam maybe on, is this Tuesday?
Yes.
So Thursday, I don't know, maybe study for a pop quiz. Maybe you're gonna have a pop quiz. I don't know.